Mkenya Daima 2022 campaign launch event, and I want to welcome the press, the media, the steering committees all here. And we're not doing the national anthem. The song. We could have started with our song, dance, at the end. We'll all do that together. Are we all set? We will close doors after this. Good. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. That voice too loud. So every 5 years in Kenya we have elections, and this year 2022 being no different, we're going to have elections on August 9th. And I think if we look at the backdrop of this, 15 years ago, in 2007, 2008, we had an election, and I think the country suffered a great loss from post-election violence, and which led to over 1,000 people being killed and over 600,000 people internally displaced. And of course, we had a severe drop from 2007 to 2008 and in GDP. The disruption and the civic order was considerably misplaced, and I think every one of us as Kenyans remember that. However, I think we draw lessons from this. That's important to learn. What is it that happened, what's not happened? And since then, for the last 15 years, I think we've got a lot of traction. We have a whole national dialogue, and we had a reconciliation process then, but a dialogue process, and I think from 2012 onwards, so there's going to be violence, there's going to be problems, and I think this is where we need to move out of that. Now, elections in a democratic process are important, they're required. However, why do we need to have suffering? And I think after the elections are over, we need to get back to work, and I think this is where the political, the economic pillar, and the social pillar are all three things that we look at. In the phases that we've had in the past, phase one was in 2012, 2013, was about creating citizenship awareness. And I think this was about telling people that you're not only Mwananchi. You as a public, as people, are also Mwenye. It is your country and it is my country. And I think with that we had a whole celebration of Kenya, celebrating Kenya for what it is, right? To Shangilia Kenya. And I think a lot of times we always go back and look at the negative spots or the dark spots that, oh, we didn't do this, we didn't do that, there was a gap here. However, how many of us have celebrated the good things that happen within our country or within our nation? And then, of course, phase three we had was about rallying Kenyans to say, let us all be responsible for Kenya. Ni wajibu wetu. So even if we listen to our national anthem, the words there are very clear, ni wajibu wetu. I think that's important. So in the fourth phase, which was 2017 elections, we actually came out very strongly as Mkenya Daima, coming together to say, let's forge together, looking at our national values. As articulated in our Article 10 of the Constitution of Kenya, and I think this spirited in Kenya's national anthem. In fact, our national anthem says it all. It's important to say it's a prayer. But at the same time, I think the important point around that was moving away from haki yetu and going from haki yetu to wajibu wetu. I think that was the important phase that was done. And I think that's happened all along. So for the past three elections, or rather two elections in 2013 and 2017, Mkenya Daima has been quite successful. It's been initiated in a big way. We've got all the bodies together. We've got the private sector together. We've got the faith-based religious organizations coming together. We've got the civil society from all walks of life coming together and saying, fine, let's be part of this. At the same time, we've got the youth. We've got the youth movements coming together and say, let's be part of the inspiration. And along with that, we've also got the media. We've got people who are in private sector. We've also got the people from, you call them women or you call diplomatic corps, all of them coming together and saying, let's look for a peaceful economy. And I think this is where I'd like to leave it, and I want to call upon Carol Kariuki to give us a brief of the Kenya Daima 2022, and then I will call upon every other leader. And as we come along, I'd like to, once you speak, we will all stand together and be here. Thank you, Carol.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and welcome the media fraternity who are a key part of us and have remained very committed and with us all through since we started this campaign really formally in 2012. So every time we've had Mkenya Daima 2013, Mkenya Daima 2017, and now we have Mkenya Daima 2022. And really our focus for 2022, and it's a build-up. You know, a lot of 2012, we really focused on peaceful elections and peaceful transition. And then 2017, we started adding up leadership. And now we are moving more into those areas. And so a lot of our focus this year is a lot about to do a good and accountable leadership in power, focus on and accommodate positive gains and growth opportunities for the country, because sometimes we beat ourselves too much and we don't see where we've come from since independence and what can we build up on where we've achieved well and what do we need to do. So we look at that, because if we always go with a clean slate, nothing has happened, then we'll never do anything. And we discourage each other not to do much. So we need to look at what are the gains on all the areas, economically, socially, politically, and then what do we need to build on that, and where do we need to make changes around that. So there are three areas that we'll be focusing on. The political pillar, which is the leadership and governance. And this is where we'll be engaging the leaders in terms of peaceful campaigns and again, a peaceful transition, but also Kenyans. Who is a good leader? Constitution chapter 6. What kind of leadership do we need? What are the experiences? Are we looking at leaders who have experiences? You know, we all are members of organizations, we run organizations. When we look for people who come into organizations, what qualities do we look for? Can we do the same for our country and look at our country as Kenya Inc., like a corporate, and say what kind of leadership, what kind of skills do we need to have for Kenya Inc.? Around the political pillar, we are also talking about a lot of things that we've talked before, like corruption, you know, and what we're talking to our leaders as we engage them is including things like blockchain, and so that we can start using IT and technology to resolve some of the issues around that. We did have a multi-sectoral initiative in 2018, and we had a conference around corruption. And every sector represented here today, private sector, civil society, religious leaders, the political, the executive, the judiciary, the parliament, all made commitments. We are going to be looking at those commitments and say, have we done anything on those commitments? What have we achieved? What have we not achieved? So that is wajibu wangu, my responsibility on the political pillar. Then there's the economic pillar, the people-centered and economy-led manifestos. For those who remember, last week we already met one of the candidates at the private sector, and we'll be meeting the other candidates on economic manifesto. So we've galvanized the private sector and created a manifesto that we are calling the economic manifesto of the private sector, that we're engaging all the candidates who are running for the presidential seat. And we hope other sectors will also engage in their areas. You know, the religious sector, the civil society, what is our social manifesto? What should you be seeing in those manifestos? And so that's how we're engaging. And the good thing with Mkenya Daima, we all come together and then we all use our platforms to engage in these areas. So if you are in different sectors, then you use that sector to engage on those areas. Our county governments, how are we engaging? I think Bishop Oginda will be speaking after me. And he did meet some of the county government last week and really talked about corruption. So using our platforms, we engage on those areas. So that's what we'll be doing. And as I said, the Kenya Daima Private Sector Manifesto, and we'll be publishing it for everyone to see. And then the last one is the social pillar. And this is where we'll be looking at public safety. I don't think I need to say much. Apart from the incidents we saw on Friday that we all condemn, I think people have been more courageous. And every day I've been getting 3 to 4 forwards about different incidents on our roads. We have to live better. Where's our humanity? You know, our children need to feel safe on the roads as they go to school. We all have to feel safe. And all we're calling, especially the road users, follow the law. If you're a road user, there's traffic rules. Whether you're cycling, whether you're driving, we all have to follow traffic rules. Stop at the stop signs, overtake on the right side of where you need to overtake from. And then if there's an accident, call the police if you cannot resolve it. But let's not move to anarchy. So we continue to condemn that incident very, very strongly, and all the other incidents that we are seeing on social media, and many that do not get reported. But we are calling back on on that. And around our public safety, as I finish, what we are asking also is that we go back and look at where have we failed as a country. Public transport, our education sector, our health sector, our housing sector. If we have to build the inequalities, we have to reduce the inequalities in the society, and those are the things we'll be engaging the candidates and the politicians, and that's what we're calling all the sectors to do. We'll also make sure that the candidates, before we did this, one of the areas in terms of peaceful campaigns is to see the candidates together. So a part of us, we will also be making them sign the peace accord, the peace accord that we'll be signing today as a steering committee, but also work with the media very closely on presidential debates, because there's nothing that beats anything than when you see people together. They campaign separately, and sometimes they call each other names, but when they stand and talk about issues together, it brings the country together. And so those are the things that we'll be doing. We've already, as we are launching this campaign, this is not the day we are beginning. We've already done we've already engaged. We've done engagements with all our different stakeholders who are here and some who are not here, like the Development Corps, some of them are here. We've also have a media partner. In 2012, Nation Media was our key partner. This 2022, Standard Media is our key partner, and they'll be rallying the rest of the media together. We've been pushing for voter registration through social media. We've developed the Mkenya Daima Peace Pledge, which we'll be signing today. We've also engaged the private sector on election risk and preparedness for the private sector to create awareness on specific risks. We've done civic education on electoral processes targeting the youth, done in partnership with Africa Youth Leadership Forum, and we'll continue doing that. We are also going to be engaging the election organizations. That's IBC, EACC, judiciary and security sectors that we've done before. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Believe you me, we're going to have a peaceful elections with that. Can I invite Bishop Oginde, who represents the faith-based organization, and you'll introduce yourself. Carol, you need to stand on the side.
Thank you and good morning. As Mkenya Daima, one of the things we are emphasizing is just by that name, Mkenya Daima, that this country belongs to us. What is interesting is that irrespective of your status in society, if chaos breaks out in this nation, whether from within or from without, once you get out of the borders of this nation, your name changes. You become a refugee. And it doesn't matter whether you are a business person, a leader in society, a child, you are a refugee, you'll be taken to a refugee camp. And so we must work hard to build this nation together. Our appeal to all Kenyans, wherever you are, we want to appeal especially for those of us in the religious sector. We meet our people on a weekly basis. Let us urge our members to behave responsibly in whichever space we find ourselves, so that we can build our nation together. This is our responsibility. Hii ndio wajibu wetu. So let us work together and build Kenya, make it the best it can be.
Thank you very much, Bishop. Can I ask Bwanasuba Churchill to come representing the civil society?
Thank you very much, members of the press and colleagues in Mkenya Daima. We are gathered here as Mkenya Daima because we do recognize that elections are by their very nature competitive, and that competitiveness tends to bring about election-related conflict, dynamics, and tensions, and as Mkenya Daima, therefore, we are committing ourselves individually and collectively to mitigate some of those election-related dynamics and conflicts so that they do not rise to levels that can threaten the peace and stability that we enjoy as a country. I'm Suba Churchill, sitting in Kenya Daima to represent the civil society. As a country also, we are aware that the stage at which we are in terms of our democratic processes, the democratic content of our elections still tend to be very low and fragile. We are a very, very nascent democracy. Our political party system has not developed and matured to those levels that can contain some of the tensions and competitions that come with the electoral process. And therefore, as Mkenya Daima, we are once again committing ourselves to work and support institutions that are charged with the mandate of overseeing the election so that they deliver effectively and come away from some of those challenges that we have faced in the past. Lastly, we are aware that as late as early this week, some of the leaders that we, and when I say we, I say those of us who live in Nairobi, voted for, are being blacklisted on account of not measuring up to certain ethical aspirations that we set for ourselves in our constitution. I think, and without disagreeing with those who blacklisted them, I think it is an indictment on us as Kenyans to have voted in people who day in, day out, get debarred from visiting and exercising their freedom of movement. And as Mkenya Daima, therefore, will not just be interested in anybody, any Tom, Dick, and Harry, who offers himself or herself to be elected, will be interrogating the content of their ethical aspirations and really questioning and working with institutions like the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission to help us poke holes into some of these charlatans who, of course, come during elections to endear themselves. And before we realize it, they are called this or that title. And so, as Mkenya Daima will be focusing on not just on elections, but free and fair elections, not just on having leadership, but leadership that can deliver on their mandate, that can ensure effective public delivery moving forward.
Thank you, Banasuba. You can stand there. Daniel Juma from the Global Peace Foundation.
Thank you, Vimal, and thank you, everybody. So on the 9th of August this year, Kenya will undergo an election, and I'm here to give you the good news that the election will be conducted and people will vote, and it will be a peaceful election. And as a member of the steering committee of Mkenya Daima, we have done this every 5 years, and this year again we are sending to you the message of confidence that this election will be peaceful, and I have no doubt in my mind that everybody will do their responsibility. Personally, mimi kama Mkenya Daima, nitatenda wajibu wangu. I will vote. After voting, I will wait for the IEBC to count the votes and declare the winners. And I'm also asking you as a Kenyan, utende wajibu wako kama Mkenya, upige kura, you elect the rightful leader, and then after voting, please go home and wait for the candidate that will have got the highest number of votes. And that candidate will be your MP, will be your senator, will be your governor, will be your president. Let me just say here today that everybody who is, nominated by the party and cleared by IBC and all our institutions to run are qualified, to lead those, the positions that they're vying for. So, as a voter, mine is just to vote for that candidate that has presented himself, and then it is not, my responsibility, to insist that my candidate, ndio lazima ashinde. It is not. Because all these are Kenyans, and all these are political parties registered legitimately in Kenya. And so let me just say here that during these political seasons, there's a lot of excitement. It's not just in Kenya, there's political excitement all over. We saw even in the US, there was a lot of excitement that generated into the January 6th fiasco that you saw. So we are not unique. So Kenya is a vibrant democracy. We are sending this message that, you know, our political discourse is not violent. We are not a violent people. We are just a vibrant democracy. People do their politics. We have beautiful colors, different colors. You know, the other colors are yellow, blue, blue and red. But we are a democracy. It doesn't mean that we are violent people. So I'm sending a message of confidence to our business people. Do not worry. Do not send your investment out of Kenya because of an election. Let us stick together and let us educate our people so that they know that election is a 5-year cycle dictated by our constitution. And at the end of the day, we remain Mkenya Daima. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can I ask Duncan from the African Youth Leadership Forum, representing the youth? Bit space. Don't cover. Carol, come in. Yeah, that's right.
Thank you and good morning. My name is Duncan Mochama. I represent the youth through the Africa Youth Leadership Forum, and I was part of the 2013 Student Leaders Mkenya Daima cohort. The history of Kenya and Africa in general has taught us that the youth have a much bigger role to play when it comes to elections and management of it. And this can be seen in the sheer numbers of those who have stood up to vie for elective positions and also its management. So it is still our responsibility, ni wajibu wetu. To the young adults in institutions of higher learning, to those out of campus, to those working, and to those who are trying to find their footing in this space, the future belongs to us, and we need to protect it with everything we've got. We have seen that misinformation, fake news, propaganda has been used as a tool to divide us. And as the youth and as young adults, we can see that. And now it is our responsibility to point that out. If you can't prove it, don't share it. If you can see it, please call it out. And in the midst of these campaigns and elections, our generation must discover our mission. We either fulfill it or betray it. And as we have decided to stand up, then it is our responsibility, and it is my responsibility to ensure that we guard it. Mimi ni Mkenya Daima. Thank you.
Next, the chairperson of Kenya Private Sector Alliance, Ms. Flora Mutai.
Good morning. I stand here as the chairperson, as you heard, of the Private Sector Alliance, which is a membership body of other BMOs. We have a membership of over 1 million companies. And I stand here requesting and almost committing that each and every one of those companies will stand for a peaceful election. We need all arms of an economy to work. I mean, we need all arms to work. We need the political. We need the social, so that the economy can work. That is how we make our money. That is how we make economies run. And if that is not running, we will not be able to actually, put food on the table. And we've got other countries that have gone before us to show us what could happen. So I just appeal to everybody, and I'm almost committed to say that they will do that. We also request transparency and fair and national election management as we go to the ballot. And like you heard from Carol, we will be actually seeking out the IEBC, the judiciary, to see what, to make sure that we have enough mechanisms and systems in place to give us a free and fair election. And finally, to the youth, and to every single person that's going to vote, we do say in Mkenya Daima, kagua bila kuchagua. Kagua kabla uchague, sorry. And what that means is, these are the people, we need to elect people who are going to actually, stand up for us. They are our leaders. They are going to create the laws that are going to govern us. So it is extremely important that you choose somebody who you respect, somebody who will put the political, the social, and the economic position of Kenya first, before themselves first. Electoral integrity is necessary to turn elections into instruments of promoting social cohesion and inclusion, creating political legitimacy and effective management of diversity. Nitatenda wajibu wangu. Thank you.
So you can see, you can all come together closer so that we can see it together. You can see everybody here, the private sector, we're all part of one team, Mkenya Daima team. And next, what we'd like to do is unveil the leadership, my leadership and peace pledge, which is a document that we're going to get signed from everyone here right now. But this is something that we will get signed by all our leaders, aspiring leaders across the country, so that it becomes very clear. And it's also in English and Swahili, and we will just do the official unveiling. So if I may request all of us to stand on both sides. I want to read it after we open it up, after we launch it. Thanks. So,
Okay.
3 on each side.
So we're going to get ready to sign the peace pledge, to unveil the peace pledge. Are we ready? So, for everyone, we're going to count down. We're going to do a countdown.
So that's the leadership pledge, and for the sake of everyone, I will read it out. So it says, my leadership and peace pledge. I, whoever it is, publicly express my commitment to uphold the Mkenya Daima spirit of good leadership and accountable governance as aligned to the Constitution of Kenya, especially chapter 6, which speaks to leadership and integrity. In addition to inspiring a peaceful and fair 2022 general election process for a prosperous, thriving and peaceful country, Kenya. I hereby declare that 1, I will support, propose, elect leaders of integrity who are going to work to improve the quality of life enjoyed by all citizens everywhere in the country. Number 2, I will rise to the challenge of improving the lives of all Kenyan citizens, as well as hold all leaders and institutions to account. Number 3, I will take ownership and responsibility that will help my country achieve a value-based society for the prosperity of all Kenyans. Number 4, I will endeavor at all times to speak truth to power and to uphold the words of our national anthem. 5, I will not be party to any form of incitement, hate speech, ethnic acts, or any form of violence, verbal, physical, or written, that will interfere with the peace and stability of my country, Kenya, before, during, and after the election period. Number 6, win or lose, I will take responsibility on behalf of myself and my party, my team, my people, to maintain peace and abide to the due process. Finally, I commit to put the service and prosperity of my country before self-interest and uphold the values of Mkenya Daima for the common good. My Kenya, my responsibility. Today, I stand to be counted as a person of peace, love, unity, and integrity, and this is my declaration. Ni wajibu wangu. Date, sign, signature there. So that's the peace pledge, and I would like to invite all the people here to commit to signing this. We have pens for everyone. You can sign it there, and we all start by ourselves. As they say, charity begins at home. Thank you.
Anayependa Kenya ni yule mwenye kutenda kwa watu wote, mtu mwenye kutenda haki, na ukipenda Kenya ujitengane na mambo yenye kuvunja amani. Hatutaki matata Kenya, wenye nchi Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima. Wenye nchi Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima. Kenya kipenzi chetu, nchi yenye upendo, hatutaacha Kenya daima na milele. Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima. Wenye nchi Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima. Na nikienda nje sitasahau Kenya, na nitabaki Kenya daima na milele. Na tumeapa sote wenye nchi ya Kenya kutumikia Kenya daima.
Okay, I think, can you all come along still? Bishop, everybody please come. We're doing a Q&A right now. Please come. Thank you. I know you have to run, but quick one. We will now do a small Q&A session. Members of the press, if there's any questions you want to ask, you can ask, and we'll probably limit it to a few. Do you have a mic? Oh, no questions?
You were clear.
Okay, can you ask a question from the back there?
Well, my name is Nelson Andiv. I'm from Home TV. My question is, we all know and we all understand how important is civic education as far as election is concerned. Do you have any plans to maybe to support or sponsor activities so that Kenyans can get civic education just before elections?
I think there's a lot of civic education going around right now, and I think all our bodies, if you look at the people represented here, we have communities, congregations all across the country, and that will keep on happening as we go along. But we're not overtaking the role of all our government bodies or other bodies who are doing it, but our role is to make sure that we have this ownership to the country, and of course, where there are gaps, we will help in doing that, so that people realize that what we need is accountable governance, we need good leadership, and I think that's the biggest civic education that all our people across the country, I think if you ask all our people, they've got people all across the country in 45 counties, as Bishop would say. I think it's our CSOs, our civil societies all over, and I think they will spread the same message across the country. Thank you.
A question.
Yeah, go ahead.
We can hear you.
What is the foreign investment scene looking like at the moment? Are there fears? Have there been expressions of fear? And how does the private sector plan to deal with this SDGs?
Laura or Cam?
There are no fears. We've not gotten any cancellations for anyone who is planning to invest or to expand. Actually, all they're asking is information, which we are offering. And I think for the first time, and I think because a lot of the foreign investors have watched Kenya the last 2 elections and realized maybe we make a lot of noise on the streets, but really doesn't affect the investments. And so we've not gotten any cancellations or anyone saying they'll wait until after elections. Everything is going as normal. We're giving a lot of information, and where there are challenges, we're addressing.
Thank you. Any more at the back? Yeah. Brilliant, brilliant. I think join Mkenya Daima and just enroll yourself, and we will take it up as one of our activities from Mkenya Daima under that umbrella. Thank you. This is all inclusive. I think the issue that I would want to address there is, it's not our project. It's not only us here, it's your project. Including, I would invite every one of you, the Fourth Estate, all the media people, make it your project to ensure we highlight all the good things about us. Yes, we have areas of improvement, but that's there everywhere. I think the important point is that let's go and look at it from a holistic perspective, ni wajibu wangu. I think if every one of you said, I will report, as was said earlier by Duncan, fake news, wrong news, or distorted news, or make it sensational, I think this is not the time to do it. This is the time to say, ni wajibu wangu. And then, of course, sorry, just say nitaten. Thank you. No, I think that we leave for the manifestos and the government to sort that out, because we would only influence where it's required and say, look at it from a different angle. I think ultimately it's for the manifestos. I think, Bishop, you want to come and answer that?
Our concerns are really, as election approaches, are what we have actually expressed. First, that we elect good leaders, because we have seen situations where we as Kenyans elect people without thinking carefully what kind of leaders we are electing. Soon after the election, we are the same people who are crying and complaining about these leaders. So let's take time and choose the right kind of leaders. Number two, the whole issue of peace. That elections come, elections go, the nation is here with us. Let us not fight each other over election issues. These are some of the concerns. People, the third one is just the last one that has been mentioned, that Kenya is a peaceful country. Kenya is a great place to invest in. Let's not scare our investors away by wrong communication, wrong narratives, but let people come and invest in this country, and let's build our nation together. I would pick those three as top among our concerns. Yes.
Yeah, sure.
I would also want to add on the one with the economy. We're just coming off from, from the pandemic. Everybody's trying to recover. And it is important that we don't take yet another dip. And just to let you know, from the time we started Mkenya Daima, we used to see a large dip in our GDP. And from the time we sort of started getting everybody on board, like Bimal said, it is all of us involved. Our GDP has not been changing during an election period. So if we can separate economics and politics and continue to let the economy thrive, I think that's another concern, and that is one of the reasons why we're here.
Okay. I just wanted to say that studies that have been conducted by the Institute of Economic Affairs from 1963, when we attained independence, to 2017, has always indicated a slight dip in the volume of goods and services that we produce as a country in an election year. That, of course, is a concern, and that's why, as Mkenya Daima, our messaging will be to the political class to avoid some of the rhetoric that we see them speak, so that they reflect a little more deeply before they utter certain words that can be misconstrued by any potential investor that Kenya is not the right place to invest in the year of the election or the year after, because that study by the Institute of Economic Affairs is a scientific thing and has always shown that pattern, that there's always a slight dip in the volume of goods and services we produce as a country in the election year.
Well, so let me add, amongst the concern is, we go through this every 5 years, and we don't need to go through these kind of shenanigans every 5 years. Countries like Finland, people vote in the morning, and they go to work in the afternoon. Why do we have to be different? You know, we need to diffuse this political tension. And again, and this I'm addressing to the politicians, you know, when you sow mistrust, you know, between Kenyans and our institutions of elections, that's a big problem. I've seen, and it's a culture of politicians during election time to start pointing a finger at IEBC, you know, sort of, so we're saying that we need to give confidence to the people. These people working at the IEBC are Kenyans, just like us. They're doing a very difficult job. You know, when you start saying that these elections will not be free and fair, it will be rigged, and you're announcing it to the whole world, what are you saying? So we need to ensure that we create confidence in our institutions. That is the only way we can be able to manage these elections well. And one very important thing, Kenyans do not have a culture of conceding defeat. You know? So in this election, we are asking you, prepare 2 speeches, a victory speech and a concession speech. And let us prepare them. So on the day of election, after you are declared the winner, read your victory speech. If you do not, and it says here number 6 of this document that we are signing, if you do not win, it's not the end of the world. Get something else to do, right? All of us here are not earning salaries from political seats. We are paying taxes, doing our work and paying taxes. Sasa wewe ni mwanasiasa unadhani kazi yako ni yani you need to be paid from the taxpayers' money every other time. So if you lose, get something else to do and concede defeat. Do not take your people hostage and tell them, because I lost, come and fight for me, come and do what Kenyans this time will not. This time we will vote, we will go home, and after that, whoever is elected, that's who the person will go with.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for that question, our concern as a youth is to ensure that we have good leadership, and that leadership is accountable. Yeah, and that is in place for a prosperous and thriving, peaceful nation. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any last one? I know you have to rush. You can go on. You can carry on. Thanks.
My name is Namuno Kevin from CIO Africa. Carol, you talked about adopting the blockchain in aiding in the fight against corruption. And we've seen a lot of, let me say a few African countries not buy into the mechanism of blockchain. How far do you think Kenya is from achieving this, adopting this?
So let me differentiate between blockchain and crypto. So we're not talking about adopting crypto. That's a whole different discussion with central bank and its ongoing conversation. But what we're talking about is blockchain as a system to really make our systems efficient. I think where we've seen a lot of the corruption is the inefficiencies of our systems, and especially procurement. So making our systems more transparent. And it has started. There are some sectors that have started putting blockchain. What we want is blockchain in all the systems of government, and that will reduce a significant number of, a significant portion of corruption, even as we elect the right leaders. So it's a two-way. So let's get the right leaders, but also let's use technology to sort out the inefficiencies and to create transparency and accountability.
Thanks. Thank you. Any more last ones? Well, with that, then thank you very much. And you can see everybody's united on this front, and we'd like all of you to be part of it. So welcome to Mkenya Daima. I think the words nitatenda wajibu wangu are something that we all want to, wish to, and would want to have all the time, and then spread the gospel across the board. Thank you very much for coming. And may we have the song now. We have a song that is to Shangilie. So this song is a very old song by one of our, very good leaders here, Thomas Wasonga. Thomas Wasonga sang this song before, a long time ago, but then we rekindled it in 2012, 2013, and redone it, and I think that's the history around this song. To this song, every other president has danced to this song, and I think this is something that, when we start the song, it's something about Mkenya Daima, and I think this is important to say, let's have this spirit around. So can we play the song now? And please feel free to dance if you wish to.
Actually, as the song comes in, this is a way to say you can give something. Mwalimu Songa said he had nothing else to give to Mkenya Daima, but he was gonna give his song for free. And so he does not earn any money. You've had this song being played the last 9 years in almost every function. But Mwalimu Songa came to us in 2012 and said, this is what I am giving to Mkenya Daima. We wished we had the screen so that you can see the video. We shot with him, and it's a song that we really speaks to the values and the intentions of Mkenya Daima and who we are as Kenyans. So let's enjoy it together. You can all stand.
As a part of giving, I think that's important to say. This is a voluntary effort. Thank you. Okay, let's have the song. Go ahead.
Tushangilie Kenya, taifa letu tukufu, Kenya tunayoipenda, Kenya nchi tunayoipenda. Twajivunia sana tukijiita wa Kenya, nchi yenye baraka. Kenya nchi yenye baraka. Tumekomboa Kenya, taifa letu tukufu, tumebadili mwendo, tutalinda katiba mpya. Anayependa Kenya ni yule mwenye kutenda haki kwa watu wote, mtu mwenye kutenda haki. Na ukipenda Kenya ujitengane na mambo yenye kuvunja amani. Hatutaki matata Kenya, wenye nchi. Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima. Wenye nchi. Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima. Kenya kipenzi chetu, nchi yenye upendo, hatutaacha Kenya daima na milele. Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima. Mwenye nchi. Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima. Na nikienda nje sitasahau Kenya, na nitabaki Mkenya daima na milele. Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima. Mwenye nchi. Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima. Na tumeapa sote wenye nchi ya Kenya, kutumikia Kenya daima na milele. Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima. Mwenye nchi. Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele.